Now, Brawl Stars is a great game, like truly awesome game. It's got a lot of really amazing things to it. However, it's not perfect. And today we're going to cover some things that I think Brawl Stars really needs to take it to the next level. Hey everyone, what's happening? Lex back today for another Brawl Stars video, and today we're going to be going over some things that I think that Brawl Stars really needs to really take its game to the next level. Now, while we're going through some of these things, while you're listening to this video and watching the gameplay here, I just got Brawl TV on. You guys enjoy the high-level gameplay there. But while we're going through this, I want you guys to think of some things that you think Brawl Stars really needs to round out the game. What's the one thing that you think Brawl Stars is just really missing? I want you guys to post that in the comments down below because I would be really interested to hear. And if you guys come up with some just idea that I think, wow, that is really good. If you give me one of those ideas, I will pass it along straight to the developers. Now, there are 4 major things that I think Brawl Stars really needs to round out their game. I'm going to go over each one of these and give you a reason why they need to do that and some examples. Everything from communication to a reason to play the game. Now, speaking of a reason to play the game, how about getting to play against me? Well, that's what today's sponsor is offering up to you right now. Forget everything that you think that you know about mobile games, because the most ambitious RPG project of 2019 has just been released. Raid Shadow Legends is the most immersive experience that you're going to find on a smartphone. It can really only be compared with the biggest PC and console titles. And the best part? It's totally free. Raid has all the features you'd expect from a brand new RPG title, like an amazing storyline, awesome 3D graphics, giant boss fights, PvP battles, and hundreds of champions to collect and customize. I never thought that I would be able to get this level of performance out of a mobile game. I mean, just check out the level of detail on these champions.
Man, Lex, are you just showing the sexy chicks?
No. I wasn't just showing the cute ones. Raid Special Launch Tournament is happening right now, and it's getting big real fast. So go to the description of this video, download Raid only through my link to get 50,000 silver immediately, and here's the coolest part. You'll also be entered into their Special Launch Tournament where you can compete with me and other players for crazy in-game prizes and physical prize packs with collection edition figurines, power banks, t-shirts, and more. Winners will get them delivered straight to their house. Good luck, and I'll see you there. Now, I'm going to save what I think is the biggest thing that Brawl Stars really needs for the end here, but let's start off nice and simple, and one thing that Brawl Stars absolutely needs is better communication. No, I'm not talking about communication from the developers, although, hey, we'll take more of that. It's always good. However, I'm talking about in-game communication. Now, there have been a lot of ideas about communication and how to improve it. However, there's 3 that I would really like to target in on. First off, something very simple such as pings in game, right? As you can see, this picture that I'm showing you right now, this is old. This is from back when the game was in portrait. That's how long we've been wanting something similar to this, and I don't know exactly how it would work in game, but something as simple as, you know, fall back, watch out to your left, watch out to your right, attack. Something very basic like that would still give you a way to communicate with your team so that you could work better as a team. I mean, it's mainly a team game, even in solo showdown. So we need to be able to work as a team, and how are you supposed to work as a team if you can't even communicate with each other? So something very basic, even like pings, would be a really welcome addition, I think. Now, how would they work that out? I'm not really sure. I'm no game developer, but the guys over at Brawl Stars on the dev team are amazing. They know what they're doing, and I'm sure that they could figure out something. The second thing that I think would really help out communication is, well, just that. Straight up communication. Currently, if you want to talk with your teammates, like over voice chat, you have to use a program like Discord or, you know, WhatsApp or whatever it is that you use. You have to use something like that. And while that's all fine and well, you shouldn't have to go out of the game to be able to do that. I think that they should add a in-game chat feature. It's not, you wouldn't have to use it if you didn't want to. You could even listen to it and not speak. But to be able to have that option to be able to talk to your teammates, it increases the level of your gameplay working as a team so much. When you can communicate with your team in real time and they're like, hey, I need some help over here on the left-hand side, we got a Shelly coming over, that is such a huge benefit to you and your team to be able to work better and have a much greater chance of winning. I think that it would be a really great thing. Now, on the downside, can Brawl Stars servers even handle that? I have no idea. I'm no server guy. I don't know how all that works. I know I still lag sometimes in games, so maybe that's asking a bit much, but I'm sure they're going to work out some of those kinks, and I would love an in-game chat feature. So something to think about. So the last thing in communication that I want to key in on is, okay, let me give you a scenario. Have you ever queued into a gym grab game with randoms? And let's say you're playing Barley, which is a pretty solid choice on a lot of gym grab maps. You queue in and you've got a Dynamite and a Piper teammate. You know from the second that you load in and you see your team composition, your chances of winning are very, very slim. And that's super frustrating. Who wants to load in and be like, dude, okay, well, we're not going to win this game. I'm pretty much just wasting my time here and losing trophies. What if, whenever you queued up for a random game, you got maybe like 10 seconds with your teammates and you could see who's picking what, and you could build at least a very basic team comp. Be like, okay, we don't have a healer, I'm going to be playing a Poco. Or we don't have a support brawler, I'm going to play Spike or Rico or whatever. Give yourself at least like 10 seconds. So I know one of the big draws to Brawl Stars is that you can hop into a game and you're in and out and you're done within just a couple minutes, and that's great. 10 seconds to make your enjoyment and your experience that much better, is that really too big of a detriment? I mean, maybe Brawl Stars thinks so. I don't know. None of this is talking directly with Supercell about any of this. I know they've talked about some of this stuff in the past, but this is all just me riffing off the cuff here. I don't think 10 seconds would really affect your experience, except in a positive way where you can make a better team comp. So I think being able to get some synergy with your team, even some skinnergy, would be a good thing. Now, the next thing I want to key in on is information, right? Now, the first thing I want to mention, and I know this has been talked about in a previous Brawl talk, actually when I was there with Kairos and Trickshot and Ryan, we discussed it very briefly, but how about if you had more stats on the in-game screen? Right? You know how, like, say your KD ratio, objectives achieved, damage dealt, healing dealt, damage received, stuff like that. I think that knowing that information after a match would give you an idea of like, okay, I didn't play so well on that, and I know that there's a lot of things that in Brawl Stars are hard to quantify. I think that knowing some of this information would benefit the players in helping them improve. Another thing that I think would be really awesome is your profile page. What if you had a lot more stats? Now, I got a couple images here. One of them I made a really long time ago, back when I think my trophies were only like 10K. I think this is right when Duo Showdown first came out. And also, there's another one here that somebody else made on Reddit, and this one's really cool. What if you could look at these stats of not only yours, but the other players, other players that you encounter and or in your band or, club. Then you could get an idea of their tendencies. Like, hey, this guy really plays a lot of gem grab, and he seems to really like that. And I play a lot of gem grab too, so maybe this is a guy that I would like to try to team up with because we have, the same sort of tendencies in game. Or you see somebody like, oh, this guy plays a lot of duo showdown. Maybe I should play with this guy. Or maybe he's a lone wolf and he only plays showdown and he likes to go team with people. And yeah, just kick him out of the club right now. Just joking. But having that information on you and other players would give you an idea of what kind of player they are, how they would fit into maybe your club, or maybe you need to bring them in as a close friend and play with them more. So more information. I don't think that it's a bad thing. Now, hold up just a second. I can hear some of you apologists right now saying, yeah, okay, Lex, that's a decent idea, but maybe I'm not the best at this, but I still want to play, and if people look at my stats, they're going to be like, man, that guy sucks. I don't want to play with him. Maybe that's true. That might happen. That's a possible downside to this. I'm not going to refute that, but on the flip side of that coin, maybe you could find somebody who's right around your skill level and you guys could play together, and you would probably have a better time anyways. They wouldn't, you wouldn't have people telling you, dude, man, what were you doing? You were just dying all the time. You were like, if you're playing with somebody your skill level and you're getting matched up with people your skill level, it'd probably be a better experience anyways. But I will concede that it's possible that, and not possible, it's likely that some people might get excluded because of inferior stats. That's a potential downside to that, but I still would like the information. I think that more information is better than less information. The third thing I think we need to talk about is depth to the game, and this is a big one. That's why I've saved it for number 2, because I think this is a very big one. Currently, Brawl Stars is a ridiculously fun game to play. There's no doubt about I can't even begin to counter an argument to that because the gameplay, the graphics, the styles, the variations of both the brawlers and all the different maps and modes, it's ridiculously fun to play. I love Brawl Stars, and the dev team has done an amazing job of that. But I think that Brawl Stars is, while deeper than you would think just at a cursory glance, it's not a super in-depth game, and it probably shouldn't be. It's not that really that style. It's not like a hardcore MOBA. However, I think that it could stand to use more depth. And I think the Brawl Stars team realizes this. I mean, they just introduced dynamic maps, and it's a really cool concept. I think we need more dynamic maps. And when I think of dynamic maps, the first thing that always comes to mind to me is World of Warcraft, and there was an arena called Arena of Valor. I think it's actually removed from the game now, but in this arena, whenever you'd start, you would raise up from these from underneath the ground, and you'd be face to face with your enemy. You know, maybe like 10 yards away from your enemy, right? And you guys could either battle it out, or you could fall back, or there's different strategies you could use. And then periodically through the game, there was 4 pillars, 2 that were right there, kind of where you started, and then 2 way off to the side, and they would raise and lower from the ground. And you could either use those pillars as like, you know, a line of sight, and you could kite people around them or poke out and shoot. It's really cool. Or you could even get on the circle, and the pillar would raise up, and you would lift with the pillar itself. And then if you were up there, if you were a ranged brawler, you could probably still shoot the people that are below you. If you're melee, well, you could use it just to get away or escape somebody and give yourself some time to recover. However, you'd be kind of out of the match. Then you could jump off the pillar whenever you needed to. And it's a really cool idea. There was another one, ramps leading up to a bridge, and you could go across it, or you could go underneath the bridge. And I know that that's probably a lot to ask of the coders, and I don't even know if that's possible within the game structure itself. We do have 3D maps, and I've seen, like, you know, the 3D environment, so it's probably possible. I don't really know, but I think that we need to expand on the maps and that style to give a greater depth to the gameplay, and I think that would really add a lot to the gaming experience in Brawl Stars. Now, while we're talking about depth, another thing that I saw over on Reddit, actually a guy named Chrono Pierce has been putting out these map modifiers, like basically thinking of new modifiers that you could use in game and showing these really cool graphics. You can see them on screen. I'm putting them up here right now, of all these different things that he's thought of. And I think that adding more modifiers is a really cool thing. Now, I like that modifiers are only on one of the game modes, and it kind of rotates. They're not always up, but it adds a little spice to the game, and I think that we need more of that. Now, the modifiers we have, they're actually really cool. I like them. Still wish we had Life Leech back, but I think that we could really expand upon that and add a ton of different modifiers. I mean, while we're at it, while we're wishing for stuff, add modifiers to friendly game rooms. That would be a lot of fun with all the new modifiers. Give us like 20 different modifiers, put them in friendly game rooms, and then put them on rotation, and that would be amazing. Really keep things fresh, and it would never be like, oh, healing mushrooms again. Okay. No, it'd be really cool that it'd be like, man, which modifier are we getting today? Because it could be like a different one every day for an entire month. That would be awesome. That would be really awesome. Now we're about to move on to what I think is the biggest need in Brawl Stars. But before we do that, one more thing in depth, and that is multiple star powers. I saw a thread over on Reddit here just like within the past day or so. I think Trickshot started it, or somebody did, and they brought up the idea of multiple star powers. And if there were multiple star powers, what would you choose as an alternate star power? And there's just tons and tons of ideas, and I think that this would be a really cool way to diversify the brawlers. And, you know, maybe you got a primo that on one, his star power, he sets you on fire, and the other one, he, you know, hits you with ice, and you slow down for a little ways, and so he could, you know, get away or do whatever. I don't know, but there's so many different possibilities that I think that would be a really cool way. It would not only add a lot more strategy to the game. You're like, okay, well, in this mode, we kind of want to run this modifier with this team comp, but if we change up the team comp to this, then we should probably run this other alternate star power. That would be really cool. And then it would also, whenever you're going in bed, you're like, oh, well, okay, I see a crow. Does he have the leeching poison, or does he have the decrease my damage poison? It'd be kind of cool to see that. So I will leave a link in the description to that thread over on Reddit. And if you got really cool ideas for alternate star powers, be sure to go leave your comments on that, because you never know. Something like that might end up in game. Now, it's not from the Brawl Stars dev team or anything, but I know they do check out Reddit, so it's always a good place to put your ideas. Now, the number one thing that I feel like Brawl Stars really needs to keep people playing for years and years to come is this. Give us a reason to play the game. Now, that sounds a bit harsh, and I don't mean it that way, because playing the game, grinding up some trophies is a lot of fun. I've said this multiple times now, and I truly mean it. There's a lot of reason to play the game, but I'm talking about once you start moving up a little bit, what, like 300, 400, 500 trophies, your desire to keep coming on and grinding just to reach that 500 mark, and then after that there's absolutely nothing to do, that's a problem. Now, playing devil's advocate, I know the dev team have said something along the lines of, I'm not quoting them, this is just a general paraphrase, but they know that this is an issue. However, most of the players are not even close to the point where they need this. However, as a rebuttal, I don't think that they need to get to that point to still be able to enjoy something like leagues. Now, I know if you're a fan of this channel, you've probably heard me mention leagues and wish for it time and time again. Well, and here I am wishing for it again, but hear me out. Now let's take me for a case example, but I grant you that I am in the top 0.02% of all players in terms of trophy level. I get that, and so I am not the normal case example. However, just bear with me here, because I think that even though I am at that level, I think that others could still benefit from this. All my brawlers, except for BB, are at 500 trophies. What is there to do on each brawler after 500 trophies? Either play for just the pure enjoyment of playing the game, and I do, and it's still fun. However, there's no real drive to play the game after that. What if you had a league system? Let's take League of Legends, for example. They have different tiers to their leagues, and you start off in the lowest one, you battle it up, and at some point you get to the top of your tier, and then you battle through that one, and you move up to the next one. Eventually you get to the very, very top, and you're battling out with the best of the best in the game. We're not talking about who's paid the most and has the most OP brawlers. We're not talking about who actually plays the most. We're talking about the true best players in the game. I would love something like that. Now, along with these leagues, I think that there should be some really ridiculous rewards, because this is a big thing. And if you get to the very, very top, you have played a lot. You've proved that you're really good, and there should be some rewards for that. And I'm not talking about just some gems or some coins or, some extra boxes. No. I want ridiculous rewards. Now, I'll show you a little screenshot here. Now, what if one of these rewards were a custom title to your name? Like on this screenshot that is totally legit, you can see Despotic and Eric EX's name. I put on one of them Champion and one of them Gladiator. Maybe if you like the very, very top, and these are pretty basic, maybe not the coolest names. They're very generic. However, I'm sure Brawl Stars can get creative and make some really cool, fun ones. But let's just say you made it to the very top. You were #1 in the world in this season of the leagues. You got the title Gladiator. And then from your profile page, you could always choose from a different drop-down of multiple different titles. And then maybe today you want to be Gladiator Eric EX, or maybe tomorrow you want to be, Noob Eric EX. Maybe that's what you get if you like finishing the very bottom of all the ladder. I don't know, but custom titles would be very cool. Now, disclaimer, this idea is a complete takeaway from World of Warcraft. That doesn't mean we can't transfer it over to Brawl and put our own spin on it and make it Brawl Stars style, but it's not like I came up with this idea all by myself. But it is a very cool idea that would add some customization, and you roll into battle and you see somebody and it says Gladiator Lex. Let's get real, that'll never happen. But you would know, like, oh dude, this guy is good. I gotta be on my game because this dude is ballin'. Now, I think the pinnacle of rewards for achieving the very best of the best in these leagues is a custom skin. What if you got to the very top tier of the leagues, and everybody in that very top tier, which is really hard to get to, and there's only like a limited number of people, you've got a custom skin that the only way that you can get that skin is to reach that tier. That, my friends, would be awesome. I know so many people who would grind, who would try their hardest, would really work at getting better and better, myself included, just to get to that tier so that they could get that skin. And then imagine rolling into battle and you're facing off against Gladiator Lex, and he is rocking that sweet Princess Peach Piper skin. Then you would know, like, whoa, this dude is hardcore. He is the top of the top players, and maybe you lose to me. Let's get real. You're probably gonna beat me, but maybe you lose and you're like, okay, I lost, but dude, I got to play one of the very best players in the game. He had the skins, he had the titles to prove it. I would love that, and that in itself would instantaneously give every player something to play for. It doesn't matter if they've maxed out all their brawlers and they have nothing else to do, or if they've just created a new account and they've got 3 brawlers. They could still participate in the league. They could still have a ton of fun, and when the season resets, I don't know if there's like a reset where like everybody drops down to the lowest. That probably wouldn't be fair, because then the best guys would be romping on the lower guys. Maybe there'd be some sort of, you know what, Brawl Stars can figure that out. And I would love to see this happen. Now, that's probably a pretty big undertaking for coding and development, but I think the juice would be well worth the squeeze. Now, that's of course a big ask, and I don't think that we'll probably get any of these relatively soon. Maybe we will. I don't really know, honestly. However, I think that it would be a fine goal to work towards if the Brawl Stars team, you know, thinks that it's worthy of, you know, the time that it would take, but I personally think they would. Now, remember in the beginning of the video when I asked you to think of some good ideas? Post those in the comments down below right now if you haven't already, if you've thought of some. And again, if I see some really ridiculously great idea, I will be sure to pass it along to the Brawl Stars development team. But that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, until next time, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out.